Apple enters the true era of the Ive. Sir Johnny, the much-lauded head of hardware design, will, according to Apple's press release, take over leadership and direction for human interface, i.e. he'll be in charge of the whole Apple experience. Ive's promotion comes after CEO Tim Cook got rid of Scott Forstall, the VP in charge of the much-criticised Apple Maps.
It was a really inferior product, and it seems like he refused to put his name to an apology that Tim Cook put out, and there seemed to be some kind of internal wrangling about that. Anyway, he seems to have got the blame for that, and he also seems to possibly not have got on with the management from what we're hearing, and that was more of a problem since Steve Jobs left.
Another factor, perhaps, is Ive and Forstall's differing design ethos. Forstall is a disciple of skeuomorphism, a school of thought where functional elements of an original design are retained as ornamental features of a new one. So iBooks has a wooden bookshelf and Passbook a virtual paper shredder. It's a style also enjoyed by Steve Jobs. iCal's leather stitching is apparently based on the texture of the seats in his Gulfstream jet. But Ive and others at the top of the Apple food chain apparently hate it. The man whose philosophy is to develop products that somehow seem inevitable is said to have winced at some of Apple's design choices, and insiders say he wouldn't even sit in the same meeting room as Forstall.
There's only so many iterations you can make on a rectangle with a touchscreen, and that's been one of the kind of main bits of feedback from some elements of the tech community, which is like, there's not that much different between these products now. It's really all about the software, and that's where something like Apple Maps going wrong, that affects the company a lot more than what the kind of curvature of the iPhone 6 is going to be on the back. So if Jonathan Ive is in fact taking a more kind of front seat approach in software, that would make a lot more sense.
Ive has long been one of the most important people at Apple. Now, with the exception of Tim Cook, he could become the most important.
To be honest, Apple still doesn't look very expensive to us. It's only on, I think, around 12 times next year's earnings. You're still getting, very decent growth going forward, and I think that's probably sustainable. It's very difficult not to own Apple, given its size and scope in the stock market.
Perhaps, though, the power play is from Cook himself, asserting his authority in the post-Jobs era by letting his top team know that with Google, Amazon and Samsung breathing down the company's neck, the price of failure will be the ultimate one. Nigel Hilditch, Reuters.